Hey everyone. Today I am just going to respond to something that's going around in the illustrator and probably artist community right now, probably in all creative communities, probably writing, filmmaking, all of them. And I'm talking about AI, artificial intelligence. We're seeing a lot of breakthroughs right now in AI. We're seeing these programs where you can write a prompt and the robot creates stunning artwork. And it's not just with artwork, like I said, it's writing too. Just yesterday, I went into this thing called, I think it was called Chat GPL. Basically, you give it a prompt or ask it a question, and it will give you writing based on this prompt. I said, recite a poem using the first letter of every state in the US. And it created this brilliant poem about every state in the US. And then it got the details in that poem about each state exactly right. I also asked it, how do you find your illustration style? And it gave probably a better and more concise answer than I could tell anybody who asked that question. And that's scary to me because I'm actually writing a book on how to find your illustration style with a major publisher. So part of me thought, man, if a AI can spurt out the correct answer to that question, and an answer that I would recommend and stand behind, I should say, shouldn't I be afraid that, my purpose as a writer is basically going to become extinct? And of course, this extends to our creativity and our skill as illustrators. So I wrote a little tweet about this today saying, I don't think we should be afraid. And I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly what I wrote. I don't think we should be afraid as artists. I really think that if we're doing things in the ideal way, I'm hesitating to say the right way because we all come at art in different ways. And I don't want to say that my way of thinking is the only way, but I think that we could all agree that the ideal for making art is that it comes from something that's true to us. Like, we're not trying to be someone, we're not imitating another person's style. We don't wish we were someone else in our art. And the people who consume our art, and as illustrators who pay us to make the art and to use the art themselves, they see something in our art that's unique to us. And we are able to do that over and over again. We have a voice, we have a style that's recognizable because we're drawing from within. We don't have to fight tension between different styles that we like that are outside. I'm talking about the ideal. The work that we make comes from within, and it comes from a deep place within, and it comes from a place of meaning and intention and thought and skill of craft, in the same sense that a wood carver is an artist. They're good at what they do. They are artists at carving wood in a certain way or whatever. Our ideal is that we're able to make from this place of not just mastery, but something unique to us. When we think about the heroes that we uphold, they have a distinct style. They have a distinct voice. We recognize them. We recognize their work out in the wild. But it's more than just a brand. It's more than just a similar look and feel. I can look at a whole bunch of different illustrations that all look different, and they may all be by the same artist. I'm thinking right now of Christoph Niemann. He has more than one specific style. He doesn't illustrate in a very strict way using the same color palette every time or the same tools and techniques. But I recognize his ideas. I recognize his brand of cleverness, of ingenuity. And that's something that we have yet to see if AI can do that. Now, we can't all be people like Christoph Niemann. He's a superstar for a reason. And, someone I'm going to go back to the tweet that I said, let's not be afraid of AI. Let's believe in ourselves a little bit more, give ourselves some more credit. There's more to our art than just the style or the outward things that someone might try and imitate. There will always be people who can imitate us. There will always be someone out to get us. Plagiarists and pirates are out there, and they'll take whatever they want. We can't stop that. So we have to believe that we bring something that goes beyond what we made. We're not just the products we made. There's something inside of us that only we have that allows us to make that again. People might be able to recreate our past, but they can't predict our future any more than we can. And we're the ones who ultimately will make whatever thing we make next. And hopefully we're bringing to that something from our heart. So again, the tweet, there was a person who objected to my tweet, or maybe she's providing some challenging thoughts, and that's totally fine. But that's why I'm reacting here, because I'm thinking, what did she say? She said something like, am I not worried about people stealing our ideas or people stealing our work? And I'm also speaking from a place of, she didn't put it this way, but I'm speaking from a place of privilege in the sense that I'm making money as an artist right now. So she's presumably someone who's newer on the journey toward becoming an illustrator. And she's feeling like she's not even going to get a chance to be an illustrator before she's even started. And so I imagine that is a scary place to be. And who am I to tell someone not to be afraid? But this is what I want to say is like, I was in the same boat as her too at one point. I was at a place where I wasn't being paid for my art, where all I had was to make art from the heart. And so according to her comment, now I'm in this place that because I'm making money, I get that opportunity to make from the heart because I'm not worried about money or worried about attracting clients. But that's not true. But more to my point is that we all start off in that place where all we can do is make art from the heart. And my argument is that it's because I started making from the heart, regardless of what trends were or what I thought would sell. I've always tried to be true to who I am. And when I haven't, because of course we all try other styles on for size, we try to imitate or learn another's technique, or we wish that we were like so-and-so. If you watch my channel or read my writing, you know that I'm always comparing myself to others and always feeling a little bit loathsome about my own work. That's pretty normal. I wonder if AI self-loathes in that way and how that kind of informs our own work. I just believe that there's always been something in me that's tried to defy the what would you call it? The bandwagons. I am defiant. I have oppositional defiance disorder in a way. One of my daughters definitely has traits of this so-called disorder, but it's really just a refusal to go along with the bandwagon. And so for me, that bandwagon has been trends. Like part of me is like intrigued by a trend. And I say, oh, I noticed that a lot of people are illustrating people in an exaggerated way right now. And that a lot of corporations in tech and software companies and even banks, or if you look at LinkedIn or Dropbox or you name it, there's a lot of these, what I would call odd bodies, exaggerated people as illustrations. It's a trend. So it's a weird example for me to use, and I'll explain that in a second. But if I was seeing that now and observing right now that all these illustrations were that this trend was happening, I would say, I'm not doing that. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try it my own way. And that takes me away from where the money is for a little bit as a commercial illustrator, but it takes me closer to what my heart is, and it brings me to a place where I'm asking, what do I want to bring to the table? What do I have that's marketable? What's my perspective? I'm asking these different questions, and it is a harder and more circuitous route to take. But I come back, hopefully, having learned what my own perspective is and what my own voice is, and having hacked together various techniques in my own way that amount to something that's more true and authentic and unique to myself. And there's a lot in there, and I'm not trying to self-congratulate. I'm trying to ask, why am I not scared about AI? What gives me the confidence to think that AI is not a threat? I think I would be probably too cavalier, or what's the word? I shouldn't be overconfident. I'm sure that AI is threatening our livelihoods in certain ways. But I think it's more that the demand for human-made art will shift from one industry to another, or from one application to another. So if magazines are now just paying $16 a month for an AI art generator subscription, and then they're using that to illustrate their articles more and it works for them, then they found something that works for them. And instead of paying out tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars a month to pay illustrators, they pay less than that, or however it works, then that works for them and their business. I'm not gonna go and cry foul if a business has found a better way to be profitable, and that doesn't include me. Art isn't a charity. We're businesses, and we provide value and products, so we have to go where people want that value. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but I know I sound flippant or I sound overly confident or insensitive or something like that. But if I didn't believe these things, I would give up. And I would have given up many times over. I said I was going to talk about the odd bodies, illustrated people, exaggerated things. I have a class called Odd Bodies, and I made this about 4 or 5 years ago. That's before I started realizing or observing that these illustrated odd body type people were everywhere. There's even been a term applied to a lot of this kind of style, and it's called corporate Memphis. Now, I don't think my style really fits that, but there's a lot of similarities. And that class is my most popular Skillshare class ever. And I kind of feel like I'm not going to give myself credit for inventing this style, because I certainly didn't, because I know that I was already interested in other people's work that did the same, like, for example, Stephanie Wunderlich. And that's just one example off the top of my head. I just want to say I'm not original in this, but I was original in the sense that I was able to bring it into a class and teach other people how to do it. And that's fine. It doesn't matter about what I did there. My point is that this was a part of my style, and people were coming to me for my ability to illustrate people in this expressive way. And then first, my students started learning from my class what I taught them, which means they were illustrating in that way too. And that does a little bit of a mind F, if you will, when you think you have a style, but then you see your style being done by other people. And that sent me into a little bit of existential anxiety about who am I as an illustrator if this isn't my unique thing anymore. But what it does is it helps me ask, what is unique about what I do? And doesn't matter if other people are doing it. And so I don't throw away everything, and I say, what's unique about this? What really comes from me, and what do I love, regardless of whether other people are doing it? And what can I change? Like, what new can I bring to this? So I have this mindset, or I've had to adopt this mindset of constant evolution as an illustrator, of bringing something new to the table, not for novelty's sake, but just to make sure that I'm always growing and realizing that my artistic power isn't in having made this formula that I repeat and reiterate time and time again. We can do that for a while, and I think that's one of the advantages of having a style, is that you can kind of cruise control it for a little while, but you can't do it forever, because trends come and go, phases come and go, and life brings change. We just have to embrace it. So speaking of my Skillshare classes and, my students creating work that looks kind of like mine, or a lot like mine in some cases, which, by the way, if you're a student of my classes, you are most welcome to do that. That's why I make the classes. So you have a model to learn by, i.e. the techniques that I'm giving you. I did a talk at Skillshare in New York around that time I made that class. And I believe it was called The Power of Sharing. And my whole thing was about how, in order to teach other people anything meaningful, I have to be willing to teach them and show them my so-called trade secrets. And I use this metaphor of how, I think it was Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola had a secret recipe, and they safeguarded that. But of course, eventually someone found it, and now anyone could probably make Coke if they have the recipe. I don't think they have any, maybe they do have ingredients, but Coke didn't just stick around and try and safeguard that recipe and only make Coke. Coke makes a whole bunch of things. It's just that Coca-Cola itself, with the red label and this Spencerian script logo, that is their symbol, their logo. That's their flagship, their masthead, it's the thing that symbolizes the company, but they go a lot deeper than that. And as illustrators and artists, commercial illustrators, commercial artists, we can't be in the business of creating one secret sauce or one secret recipe and putting it in a vault and hoping nobody finds it and steals it. We need to be in the business of being a secret sauce factory. New sauces are being made all the time. It's not that we found this one style or this one formula once and for all, and now it's like it's the thing we have to hold on to and safeguard. Like, I'm thinking about another example. When Cher had that song, "Do You Believe in Love After Love?" I think that was it. And it was like this auto-tune voice that didn't exist before that. And that was a highly safeguarded secret of how they did that. And then one day, everybody was doing that in pop music because, the mechanism was either like leaked to other people or people figured out how to do it. That's always the risk. Cher wouldn't have been famous if she was just this one effect. She had a whole career behind her before that song came out, and she had a whole bunch of career after that. So I think that this is good news. I think it's scary, it's challenging, it's uncomfortable. We're going to have to get out of our cozy sofas and do more work to create new sauces. But that's what artists do. We create new things. We don't just stand on our old thing and hope that it keeps selling. I have so many examples in my head of people who, if they only did the one thing that they were known for the one time, they wouldn't be that successful. Whether someone else stole it or plagiarized it or not, it would just grow old. The world will keep changing and they would be left behind. So I would encourage you, if you're an artist, if you're an illustrator, if you're anyone who's feeling threatened by AI, and I am to some degree myself, I'm not here saying I'm totally overconfident, but I have to believe that there's more in me than a computer could generate, no matter how powerful that computer. Otherwise, I have no hope. And so I want to encourage you, if you're one of these people, an artist, writer, etc., really do the hard work of knowing who you are as a human and knowing what part of that you want to bring into your art. I think one thing that will separate AI from humans is that a human can have an intention behind the art. A human can have, I'm not going to say this word right, but I like the word. It's telos or telos or telos. It's like a Greek word for like trajectory or goal. It's like a thing that everything you're doing is about and headed for or toward. What is the telos of your art? Not just of your art, but of you as an artist. What are you trying to work out? What questions are you asking? Even if they're not like philosophical questions, it could be aesthetic questions. But like, what are you trying to do in your art? What's your intention? When I think about what I'm trying to do in my art, I'm thinking about like, there are some things that I can't quite describe, but it's like, I want this balance and unity and harmony and a certain feeling. But I also know that I want to make people happy with my art, that I want people to feel good when they see it. And I also know that not everyone is going to feel good when they see it, and that like you can't please everyone, but it's this thing that I'm trying to do, and I put that into my work. It's my goal, it's my intention, and I bring to that my ideas about what the meaning of life is, and I bring into that what I care about and what I like. There's certain things that I don't like, that makes my skin crawl, that I don't want to put in my art. And then there's things that I love and makes my heart race in a good way. I have excitement and joy, and I try and make work that does that for me, that really wets my whistle. And so ask yourself, you don't have to word it this way, but what wets your whistle? What does it for you? What gives you joy? What gives you those feelings, those big, deep feelings that a stupid computer can never have? We got to believe that we as humans, we're more than just our genes and our cells and, these biomechanical mechanisms and chemicals. We have to believe that there's a spirit to us. And that's what separates us from the computers, from the AI or whatever. Even if it looks like AI one day has a spirit, we have to believe it. We have to believe that our art has a spirit. My name's Tom Froese. Thank you for watching. This is my YouTube channel, but I now have a podcast and it's called Thoughts on Illustration. You can watch episodes here on the same channel. You can just look on my channel page and you'll find my episodes. And I'm also on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, iHeart, all those places. Go check it out, Thoughts on Illustration. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.